diaclona.
Fun fact, it was the first time in 3 years I didn't wake up on January 1st sick from mysterious circumstances. But as I seem to say most years, it's been a great year for toys. Hasbro is firing on all cylinders, third party has reinvented the cylinder, and I even had a small touch of non-transforming figure fixation that my wallet definitely isn't regretting, not one bit, no ma'am. But let's get into the top 15. 15 because 10 genuinely didn't cut it. Honestly, even trimming down to 15, I lost some bangers. But here are some of the best plastic experiences I had in 2024. Number 15, Burger King foot lettuce, the last thing you want in your... If you haven't seen my discount dive on him and his headless cronies, then shame on you. They're great. And even though Hardhead and Skull, Cruncher, Smasher, Crusher are probably better overall figures, Brainstorm Kongming is the one that I had the most fun with. He has an undeniable hand feel. That Mech Fans Toys plastic has never felt so good, and oh my goodness, that transformation. Ugh, I could do that thing for days. Much like your mom. Now, I did learn that this whole set is an upscale of the Unique Toys Palm Collection Head Warriors, but judging by the old pictures, it's a pretty significant retooling. So even though it's not a totally original design, I'm still giving them credit for doing a fair amount to make them their own. But that does raise one question. Mech Fans Toys, where are the other headmasters? Unique Toys did them. Why haven't you knocked them off yet? Why haven't you upscaled them? Why haven't you updated them? Show yourself. Meet me in the street. Please don't check my AO3 history. Rarely has a company had such a chokehold on my brain, but Dr. Wu is deep inside me, and I'm not just talking about when I put Seekers in my mouth. It takes considerable force of will every day to wake up and not add every one of their in-stock products to my cart and put myself into financial ruin. Well, okay, deeper financial ruin. But so far, I've managed to keep myself to only 3 of their sets. The Sprite-colored Coneheads, Cigarette Boy and his wet boyfriend, and the one that got me hooked in the first place, Galvatron. Not this Galvatron. Don't get me wrong, I love having a Toy Colors Galvatron I can keep in an Altoids tin. He's so teeny and precious and fun to flip back and forth. But the real star of the show, as well as the main reason I got this set, is this. I mean, what can I say? Look at him. Bask in his glory. Worship at his little angled feet. He is absolute top tier silliness and so reasonably priced. The only other Galvatron that's able to bear children seems to be New Age, which looks great, but also is slightly more money than I'd be comfortable spending on a joke. But 30-ish bucks with an extra little gray Galvatron and a fun transformation, and both of them are small enough to fit comfortably in any number of orifices. I mean, what more can a girl ask for? Is that the noise? Is that the noise from Friday the 13th? I'll confess to being a little bit hasty judging this one. For starters, I didn't even get him till this year because all I ever heard was how bad he was. And all I ever saw about him was discourse about the Chode tank, the Kibble Jet, and the cherry-flavored Yowie hands. And even when I did get him, I wasn't particularly impressed. But fellow TF-tuber MRC mentioned a little while back that she liked him, so I picked mine up off the shelf to give him another shake. And you know what? I like him. The robot mode is stellar. He's got plenty of posability, including a lovely little cut on the back of his head that allows for expressive upward movement. The backpack is perfect. This is what Blitzwing is supposed to look like. I love that they included little faux wing parts that serve no purpose for the jet mode, but they bulk out his silhouette. I think the tank mode is unfairly maligned. Like, yes, Chode tank. The fact that it's glowing red doesn't help, but it is technically accurate and it rolls really nicely, and it's a tank with huge jet boosters on the back. If your inner child isn't absolutely giddy over the idea of that, then you clearly haven't been taking very good care of them. But fine, I'll concede that the jet is a little stinky. But you know what? Transformation in any direction is fun, and posing him is fun, and swooshing around the dumb little jet is fun, so yeah, he's fun. Not for a leader price point, but great news, he is permanently on clearance, so you never have to pay that for him. A little bit of a controversial opinion, but I honestly think he's more fun than the other modern triple changers, and his staggering unpopularity means that he's much more easily available, so I'd say give him a try. Action Master! He's an Action Master! This is the figure I hunted the most feverishly, and I think my efforts paid off. If we're talking solely posability, then he would be number 1. It's senseless listing all his points of articulation because he's got it all. He's more limber than me, he's more limber than you, he's more limber than your dad, which is crazy because your dad's nice and he's weighty, he's a centerpiece on a shelf, he's an imposing presence wherever he strides. And the transformation is interesting. The legs do a whole lot of chicanery, and there are a lot of little touches that are neat, like the boob shrinking and growing with a little flick, the way that I wish mine could. But the reason he's number 12 is that the end results are abstract. I'm not gonna waste time dunking on the alt modes. You've seen them. You know how you feel about them. Me personally, I don't mind them. They're not incredible, but they're serviceable. But with how good this year was, serviceable is only gonna get you so far. I really hope that one day we get a Megatron that dominates in robot mode, vehicle mode, and is fun to transform. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this figure. What other Megatron can look so sensual? Oh, this one. I guess. Double dipping on Megatron only seems fair given, spoiler alert, how many primes are on this list. But where BBM Megatron excels on the sheer excellence of the robot mode, MMC Tyrantron had an unfairly good hand dealt to it straight out the gate. Autobot Megatron is one of my favorite characters. Autobot Megatron is one of my favorite arcs. Autobot Megatron is one of my favorite genders. If Autobot Megatron has 1 million fans, the other 999,999 do not matter because I am the biggest one. I was gonna like this figure even if it was bad, and luckily, it's good. A little limited, maybe. Deeper elbows would have been nice. A little odd, perhaps. The fusion cannon is really weird. A little... God, nobody knows what to do with his alt modes, do they? And yeah, Minor Megatron has a better cannon, but the alt mode still isn't great, and besides, you know... He's big, and he's hefty, and he is Autobot Megatron. That's all I needed him to be, and he is such, so here he is. Imagine fulfilling a childhood dream in even prettier colors. Before now, I've never even had the pleasure of handling a G1 Soundwave. Hand feel is immaculate. The cassette player is what I imagine a Minecraft block would feel like in real life. And unlike most G1 toys, he can, like, pose a little. He's exactly as wonderful as my inner child always imagined him to be, and I can't wait for more cassettes, which means I gotta get Blaster, I guess. But if I get Blaster, then I'll need to get Ramhorn, but if I get Ramhorn, that means I gotta get Bombshell. I mean, if I get Bombshell, I gotta get Kickback and Shrapnel too, right? They need their friends. Is this all that my life is? Being interested in one thing and then making myself buy $100 worth of tangentially related things? Is this how it feels to be chewed up by the Hasbro corporate machine? Is it ever gonna spit me out, or will it digest me? Am I gonna die in here? Was I ever really living? Green Bombshell's pretty neat though. It feels great in hand. Look at that chest. You could kiss 100 boys in bars, shoot another shot, try to stop the feeling. I deliberated for a while on whether I'd put these two or their incredibly niche repaint redeco set on the list. On the one hand, pink, as well as Transtech, as well as Thanos face. On the other hand, gay. Maybe it's because I've been reading so much IDW lately, but I cannot get enough of these two. They're about as good as you can ask for. Rewind is great. Wonderful little pocket toy with impeccable hand feel and an amazing range of movement. His alt mode didn't need to be more than this, so I'm glad they didn't over-engineer him just to make a USB drive marginally more coherent. But Chrome Dome's the real star of the show. If you want to be annoying and say I can't give one spot to two figures, then fine. It's Chrome Dome's, but he's not going to be happy about you leaving his husband out of it. Just like Rewind, he is stunningly posable. MMC has really been at the top of their game for years now. I'm honestly shocked every time I open one of their figures for the first time. And the transformation, oh my god. It goes so hard and does so much, all to origami him into a mode we see maybe twice in the comic. It's incredible, and it rolls well, and it looks great, and it tastes adequate. And if you have a loose shoulder wheel, it's very easily fixed. Unscrew this thing here, tighten that little thing there. A helpful hint from your friendly neighborhood toy reviewer. They may be the disaster gays, but their plastic is anything but a disaster. That is, I don't know. I couldn't think of an outro for... Shut up. More like motor master, more like motor boater, more like I was already rocking with Mr. Sexy Firefighter calendar. Maybe watch the review. It's not great, but it's there. But this deco is always gonna make me like the toy more. Black and purple, I think, are like salt, because you can use them on just about anything to make it at least 25% more enjoyable. But the gray is also gorgeous. It's a deep, strong, setting concrete sort of color, and the splashes of toxic neon green are exactly the kind of frick-off warning lights someone like Motormaster would have. He's like those toxic frogs who have neon colors, or those toxic exes who won't give you your favorite t-shirt back. And the head, oh! Minecraft man, a parallelogram fellow, or it's 3D, so I guess it's parallelepiped? Honestly, I flunked geometry. Can someone tell me what this shape is supposed to be called? And I'm not holding out a lot of hope for this because it would require a whole lot of other molds to be made first, but oh, I would love the rest of the animated Stunticons to get an update. I don't even a little bit care that they don't combine. I just want him to have his crew. But you know, even if he's the only animated Stunticon we get, the head honcho can handle stuff himself. He'll always have a spot on my shelf. No, I didn't mean for that to rhyme. It just came out that way. Drill noise. Drill noise. I don't know how to make a drill noise. The second best freshman release of the year. He's weighty, he's blocky, he's basically a Minecraft anvil in Combiner limb form. I've always loved the Technobots, and though the Combiner Wars set is fun, this single release kind of threatens to knock the whole thing out of the water. The hierarchy of power in the Computron cinematic universe is about to change. Even though his shoulders are a little bit in their own way, everything else is stellar. The joints are solid, the sculpt is gorgeous, the range of movement is fantastic. If I had to describe the transformation, which I kind of do, I guess I am a reviewer, I'd say that it was like if Iron Factory was fun. Never been a big fan of them, but this does feel like a lot of their best elements. Solid plastic, stylized aesthetics, a wide range of movement, but the transformation here is smooth and interesting, and the alt mode is perfect. Look at that leg. Ooh boy, maybe feet are cool actually. Though I will never forgive Craftsman Toys for renaming their Lightspeed. Give me Carl back, please. I need him. I'm the Joker, baby! If if you were wondering about what the best freshman release of the year is, then here you go. The official Armada updates have been a mixed bag, and even though I kind of sort of hate the show, I love the designs and I grew up on the toys, so it's wonderful to see a third-party company doing what Hasbro don't. Get it? Like Genesis does what Nintendo don't. But with toy company, this is nothing short of a miniature masterpiece. He's straightforward, he's fun, and he was less than $40. So for about the same price as the Legacy one, you get a significantly smaller one that is significantly better. See, size isn't everything, you silly little cuckold. Have you ever thought the single wing swordsman thing is dumb? Well, you're wrong, but they've got you covered. You can swap out the transforming wing for a solid one that maintains the sculpt perfectly. Have you ever thought the unfurled wing is a little unconvincing as a sword? I'll give you that one, but lucky you, there's an animation model sword included too. Oh, but he's legend scale, he can't even hold any of my favorite accessories. They thought of that one too. Get fucked. But the mini-con doesn't transform. At least he exists. And really, you want joints on something this tiny? I honestly don't know what else you could want out of a figure. Look at those arms. Look at that chest. Look at his cock. Someone who currently owns all the Hasbro Armada updates, this is making me seriously reconsider my choice. Friendship ended with Hasbro. Romance started with Mechanical Skull Studios. I'll take that 3-pack. I'll take the Demolisher. Maybe I'll take everything. Please, make it all. Produce the whole cast and all their obscure repaints. Mommy's hungry. I can see the future. Fun new interlude. At some vague point near the beginning of the year, I wrote down 5 figures that I was pretty sure would end up on the best list. I think this could be a fun tradition to start, just to see how well I know myself and to see how much hype culture plays into purchasing. Magmatron! Spoiler alert, he didn't make the cut. He is wonderful, but his transformation, especially on Landsaurus, is a little bit much. And while we're all beautiful in whatever shape and size we might take, I personally am not big on curved swords, but in a weaker year, he'd have cracked the top 10 easily. Why don't you build a bridge and jump off? Whiplash on this one was pretty funny. Excited to get him on sale, to understanding why everyone disliked him, to bringing him around with me in my pocket because I liked him so much. Surprise sleeper hit. BBM Megatron was actually at the top of my list for a while. Even though he dropped 12 spots, I'm still pretty fond of him. Maybe put in the diaclona intro, but just cut it off before the For sure, one of the biggest disappointments of the year, and really it just comes down to that transformation. It's actually my second copy, as the first one broke right out of the box. So thank you, BBTS, for your services. Not sponsored, but I'd very much like to be. Fun figure, but seeing it go on sale instead of being completely impossible to find, as I was sure it would be after buying it on full price 4 times, was more than a little demoralizing. Yeah, I don't feel great about this one. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Why is the random Toyota Lunar Rover crossover the one they decided to make incredible? As seems to be the law for all licensed alt modes, the Rover is flawless. So much room underneath and such chunky wheels. He is by far the most satisfying to roll toy I've gotten this year. And aside from this one step in the transformation, which can be a little bit annoying, he's plenty of fun to fiddle with. But unlike a lot of licensed figures where it's clear that the alt mode took priority and the robot mode kind of just worked around it, this is an honestly disgusting level of posability. The deepest knees this side of your mother. Butterflies at the shoulders, a hip with more crunch than the candy bar. The kibble distribution is great. Something this shape could have easily just been a shell former, but the way the alt mode drapes off of him is just art. The backpack feels very astronauty. The thick tires into the back of the legs are sick, and he gets the neatest waist winch this side of Armada smokescreen. The little wiggly protrusions are a little bit annoying. I think solid plastic pieces that could combine into a weapon would have been cooler, but whatever. You can't ask him for the world. He's just a star man waiting in the sky. I really cannot get over the fact that they made him this good. This feels like a passion project, and it's for a Toyota crossover. Who even is JAXA? Who wanted it to be this good? I hate it, 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 I hate it. I hate Walmart. It's not for any righteous, anti-capitalist reasons or pro-worker reasons. I'm not gonna steal that valor. I hate Walmart because I went on a cross-country road trip with my roommates this summer, and every day, between beautiful vistas of nature and neat little landmarks, I forced them to indulge my hunt for an exclusive Masters of the Universe figure. Would you like to guess how many Walmarts we checked before I found it? I'll give you a hint. It's more than 5. Locked in your guess yet? Well, I tricked you. Whatever it was wrong because I never found it. I still have never seen it. I ordered Merman for double MSRP from a scalper because after like 16 Walmarts across the intercontinental United States, there was still jack shit. I realized in my anger I said intercontinental. That Nope. But yeah, this toy is fun, to put it very lightly. Amidst one of my many sorrowful Walmart excursions, I treated myself to him as a discounted consolation prize, and ended up with a wonderful little fidget toy. He's just the right level of complex, no frills, no filler. He's got plenty of articulation, and can pull off almost as many poses as the Studio Series one, but he actually has a truck mode. A good truck mode. A truck mode that looks at all like a convincing truck. Seriously, that thing sucks a fat one. He's solid, he's chunky, he rolls like a dream, and my copy has many precious memories attached to him. And if you want him, he's still widely available. Last time I stepped foot in the Evil Blue building, I even saw him discounted. He's on Amazon too for just under MSRP. Easily worth it, highly recommend it, but f you, Walmart. The year is 1984. You've just tuned in to a brand new show whose narrator tells you about life on a distant planet many millions of years ago. And before long, you're greeted by a pair of gray hands. They belong to a friendly-looking fellow with a light-up ears and a lovely voice who will become a staple character for decades to come. The year is 2024, and we finally have a toy to properly represent this moment. Origins B was disappointing. Origins Jazz was one of my least favorite figures from whatever year I made the mistake of getting him, but Origins Wheeljack is a stunning exercise in transformation excellence. I've already talked at length about him in one of my early reviews. I was still trying to figure out the whole content creation thing, so it's a little bit messy, but I stand by everything I said in it. He's a wonderful toy whose transformation reminds me what I love so much about this hobby. Thank you again to my good friend Tim for being both a great friend and for peer pressuring me into buying this.
This is the best Optimus Prime in years. I've never seen an Optimus Prime this good.
But like, actually, this time. Everyone says it, the best Optimus Prime in years, and they say it about every new Optimus Prime figure that releases. Siege, Earthrise, Reactivate, MP44. The last one I find personally insulting. Not to sound like a hipster, but I've honestly never bought into the hype. They're all fine figures, except that one. But they really suffer from being given astronomical expectations that absolutely no toy could ever meet. Well, as it turns out, one could, and one did. Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime is the best Optimus Prime I have ever had the pleasure of owning, which I think is a pretty hefty compliment. I don't know that there's much more to say. Everyone knows he's good, everyone's talked him to death, so I'll spare you the repetition and just say that for me personally, it's the transformation that really makes him. Just so smart and fun. Doing it for the first time felt like the first time I read my favorite book, or the first time I ate at my favorite restaurant, or the first time I defeated a dog in unarmed combat. Incomparable, nigh perfect, nearly undefeatable, but only nearly. Before that though, we gotta talk about the
Honorable mention.
I am placing blocks and stuff cause I'm in frickin' Minecraft. Just like all of them. If you've seen my streams, then you know how I feel.
No, 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 no! No!
And in spite of the anger that flares in my stomach whenever I see one of those shiny little freaks on my shelf, I can't help but love all of these blind box goblins. I'm gonna slippery little snake. I'm gonna sketch you. That doesn't start with an S. The only thing that stopped this figure being on the list is that it wasn't good. Which, yeah, it's a funny sentence because duh. But it was a contender for a time. My parents got it for me for my birthday, and I made one of my favorite discount dives talking about it, so there are a lot of good memories attached to this big fella. But alas, the G.I. Joe line is mostly flawed as much as it is a pretty fun time. And the award goes to the final thing I cut from the list, and it is with a heavy heart that I confirm that he is, in fact, not that great. Granted, anyone who's watched my review of it already knew that I felt that way. If you're upset that the figure that is essentially my channel mascot did not make it in, then blame https://www.youtube.com/@mrc. She was the one who reminded me Blitzwing existed, and thus he took the number 15 spot instead. Cheetor will always have a place in my heart, on my shelf, and occasionally inside my mouth, but he does not have what it takes to stand toe-to-toe with the other figures on the list. Which of course brings us to, it's almost like a transformation. I think if there's one thing I can take away from 2024, it's that listening to your friends is crucial. Not only for healthy friendships, not only for your own mental well-being, but because sometimes your friends know what you want better than you do. Blitzwing wouldn't have gotten a mention without Emma, Wheeljack might not have even made it into my collection without Tim, and I certainly would not have purchased Ocular Max Shift Lane if it weren't for my friend Lily. Check her out on Instagram, Lily's Robots. Now, I've made it no secret how I feel about Masterpiece style figures. In short, I hate them. In long, I find their goal of slavish accuracy to an inconsistent, low-budget 80s cartoon to be fruitless and ridiculous. I think they all become impossible to distinguish when none of them will innovate or update these decades-old designs. I'm sick of the market being completely oversaturated by the same fanboy-pleasing characters over and over, getting progressively more and more expensive and less fun to transform with every passing year. I have strong feelings, obviously, and after handling Ocular Max's take on Cliffjumper, the nicest thing I can say about this is it's not as bad as Bold Form's Gladius. I was not holding out any hope for this line ever doing anything for me. But before TFCon, I watched RID01 and I loved it, and I was desperate for some good figures to represent it. And Lily, I say this lovingly, would not shut up about MMC's Combaticons, so I swung for the fences and grabbed the first two of the Ruination boys at TFCon. Rotor isn't great. He's not actively offensive to my sensibilities the way most MP figures are, but he does trip and drop face first into a couple of their most annoying pitfalls. But Rollbar, call me Daniel Michael DeVito Jr. in the gay episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because I get it. I finally get it. I don't even know where to start. The transformation, maybe? Yeah. Probably. Good is too small a word. 4 letters, 1 syllable is amateur hour. It is unbelievable. It is mouth-watering. It is incandescent. Everything moves sensibly and smoothly and with plenty of clearance. Like with a lot of masterpieces, there are a bunch of tiny steps that make a difference, but unlike with those, they're not overwhelming, they're not fiddly, they're not too much. The crotch covers and the leg panels become the seats. The bumper turns into the combiner port, and the entirety of the chest is just... it's art. I know I was kind of taking the piss in the 86 Prime section, but genuinely, these two figures have reminded me what the hobby is actually about. Like, yes, we are consumers. A corporation burnt into our young, impressionable minds the need to purchase, and now they're preying on our most intimate nostalgia to squeeze all the disposable income out of us. I think it's crucial to keep that perspective, lest we let the capitalist overlords take advantage of us. But behind the money men and the soulless corporate fronts, there are designers and engineers, and I think we often forget to give them the credit they're due. They are artists. They produce art, and it's toys like this, like 86 Prime, like any number of the fantastic figures on the list that are physical proof of such. They are toys, yeah. They're collectible action figures, sure, but they're also art. Some good, some bad, and some transcendent. And I really don't feel like it's hyperbole to put Shift Lane in the last category. And apparently he's somehow not even the best of the MMC Combaticons. According to Lily, the other 3 are even better, so I don't know how my heart is gonna handle that level of quality. This one has already altered my brain chemistry. Like, I like a masterpiece transformer. I love a masterpiece transformer. Enough to put it above every other figure I got this year. And he's a leg. A leg beat 86 Prime. What a startling upset! I would like to offer a sincere thank you to all the girl cogs for making my first year of serious content creation so great. I've made so many friends and reached so many shocking milestones, produced so many average to below average videos. I didn't think I'd be here. And I'm so thankful to everyone who helped me out along the way, with kind words and with friendship and even with monetary support. The fact that my Patreon has any subscribers, let alone so many, still has me reeling. I've got a lot planned for 2025. Expect at least 1 twit and 1 short review a week, if not an additional discount dive, diaclona reviews, or miscellaneous type videos sprinkled in between them. Thank you again, everyone. Here's to us, to the gays and the theys and the ones who chew hay, and to me, obviously. Shoutouts to me. I'm a big fan of her work. It hurts to be something, it's worse to be nothing, really